Hey there guys, and welcome back to Dino Reacts. So episode 2 of American Horror Story season 9 has aired. I gotta say guys, I did really enjoy this episode again. Yes, I had a few more issues than the first episode, but overall I am still really enjoying this season. So guys, as always, I am going to give you just my thoughts on the episode. I'm going to review it. So without further ado guys, let's get to it. Let's start reviewing episode 2 of American Horror Story 1984. So guys, the episode itself, it opens up with the psychologist from the last episode, the kind of Dr. Loomis type character. I think her name is Karen. She's going to Camp Redwood just to kind of warn everyone there that Mr. Jingles has escaped. Now, I don't know why the police haven't gone there yet, but she does pay a visit. And of course she bumps into Margaret, so the kind of head of the camp. Now Margaret, as we know by now, wants to keep the camp open. She's determined that it will not close. And when Karen kind of tells her, you need to shut down, she pushes her away. She tells her the camp will stay open, and if Mr. Jingles comes to her, she will take care of it. So the psychologist leaves. Now for me, I was really interested in this character. I thought she was going to be really cool for the rest of the season. But she doesn't last too long. When she leaves the camp, her car gets a flat tire, and we do see from behind her the pickup truck from the garage station pulls over. Now we know the Crazy Ralph type character from there is already dead, so Mr. Jingles must be inside there. At first, she does believe it's a pickup driver, but you do see her kind of hear the jingle from Mr. Jingles' key rings. Now for me, I thought she was going to do something in that scene. She very much looked like she knew what was happening, but she did just kind of stay in the car. He does eventually pull her out of the car and he kills her. It's not a hugely graphic scene. I think he like slices her through the head, something like that. But I was upset that the character had been killed off. I wanted to see more of her character, especially because she was not in the camp. I thought, it'd be just a good way to cut back and forth, kind of like Dr. Loomis in Halloween. From there guys, we do, go back to the camp. Brooke actually sees on TV that there has been a murder in the area. And again, even though she warns everyone about it, nobody really believes her. So they all kind of leave the camp, and we get a really sweet scene between Montana and Brooke where they just kind of, talk about issues in their lives. Brooke says, no one's going to trust her, no one ever believes her, and we cut back to her wedding day. So this, again, we knew Brooke had some, past, she had some secrets to hide, and this is essentially what she was hiding. So back, a few years ago, she was marrying the love of her life. He was quite jealous, he had a bit of a temper and a bit of a rage, and he believed on the day of the wedding that she had slept with his best friend the night before. So for me, I kind of just thought, he was going to leave her at the altar, something like that. Instead, again, this is American Horror Story, so he kills the best man, his best friend. Her father tries to save her, he shoots him dead, and then he shoots himself, leaving Brooke pretty much in the altar, surrounded by blood, and most of the people in her lives that she loved are dead. After that, we catch up with the guys in the camp, so they all go off to shower because Margaret essentially tells them, they need to shower before going to bed, so they wake up clean because that's her big Christian religious beliefs. So they do go off to shower. Now, for some reason, Margaret turns off the lights. I didn't really get why that happened, but she does. They go off to shower, and we actually see Xavier. He kind of slips out for a second, so he does meet that guy who's been on the phone to him. It's kind of this businessman like guy. Xavier, it's revealed, did a porn film, so a gay porn film, and he's essentially blackmailing him with it. He wants him to do more porn films. Xavier's like, I want to be an actor, that's my dream. And the guy just isn't falling for it. Now Xavier, he does think about Matthew Morrison's character, who I actually for some reason left out in my last review. He's this guy at the camp, again, he's one of the kind of head counselors, but he happens to have a massive penis. So Xavier, thinking about what's happening at the moment, says, look, if you let me go, I can guarantee you I will get you the next big porn star. So he shows this guy, through a little peephole, Matthew Morrison's character in the shower. The guy is delighted with this, he has his future star, and Xavier slips off. Now again, as this is a slasher film, very much like Friday the 13th, there are a lot of victims in this season. That guy looking in the peephole gets killed by, I think it's Mr. Jingles. He stabs him or impales him really through the head. And we get our next kill of the season. Now I will say I do like that there are a lot of kills in this already, and it's only episode 2. I would like, 1 or 2 kills every episode, but at the same time I don't want things to go too fast. And they definitely do. So while all this is going on, Brooke actually goes down to the lake and she's actually attacked by the Night Stalker. So she does see a body in the lake, and the Night Stalker appears, you know, he says he's found her, he told her she'd never get away, and he attacks her at the lake, but she gets away. One of the reasons she gets away is the hitchhiker they had knocked down in the previous episode attacks the Night Stalker. So with the hitchhiker, there has been a lot of talk, you know, is he somebody from the future? Is he somebody from the past? What's going on with this character? Nobody really knows, because he is saying a lot of strange stuff. In this episode, he actually gets killed 2 different times, so we do find out that he's not, you know, he's not normal. There is something about him. Richard Ramirez, he picks up his ID card and he finds out that he was a counsellor back in 1970, which is when the massacre occurred. So for me, and they do say it in the episode as well, that more than likely he is a ghost. We've seen ghosts in American Horror Story before. We've seen them in Murder House, we've seen them in Hotel, we've seen them in Roanoke, so it's not uncommon that we will see ghosts in this season. But Richard Ramirez, he does want to know who this counsellor is, so he goes to the camp, goes into one of the cabins, and he talks to Margaret, the head counsellor. So again, she is the woman who survived Mr. Jingles all those years ago. Now that for me was one of the standout scenes of this episode. So her and Richard Ramirez, they have kind of a conversation, a chat, and she just kind of manipulates him into doing what she wants through talking about God. So you see that she's not the holiest person. She does kind of use God, you know, to further what she wants to get in life, and she manipulates him to think, you know, that he needs to protect the camp. He doesn't need to kill any more counsellors because that's not good for business for her. She does want him to kill Mr. Jingle. So that could be a really cool face-off. Now we do also get a flashback to Richard Ramirez past when he was a young boy, and one thing I noticed was his uncle was a war veteran. So if you think back of episode 1, Mr. Jingles was also a war veteran. So I don't know, maybe there'll be a connection there somehow and they won't try to kill each other. We do cut to a scene where Mr. Jingles actually goes to the nurse in the camp. Now that cuts away, which is quite suspicious. I'm not sure what is happening with that nurse. But once we go back to the boys, the girls themselves, they also head over and they do find the body together. So what I liked about this, guys, is they do find the body and they don't really do what typical 80s teenagers would do. They get the hell out of that camp. So they get to the nearest car, I think the van they came in, they get into and they try to escape. Now unfortunately, the nurse who had been attacked by Mr. Jingles earlier runs out in front of the van, very similar to Gail Weathers in Scream, and they end up crashing the van. They do try to start it, it doesn't work, so instead what they decide to do was go, of course it's a slasher film, so they go and split up to separate, I think, cabins to look for keys, you know, essentially to find a way out of there. So they look for different keys just to see can they escape themselves. Once they go to the cabins, there is a really great scene where we hear banging on the doors of each cabin. Now I'm pretty sure it might be both killers. One will have Mr. Jingles, one will have the Night Stalker, but at the same time, you know, this might not be a huge payoff. One could be Margaret, one could be the cook. We will have to wait and see until the next episode. Overall though, guys, I loved this episode. I thought it was quite good. I will say what I didn't like was the pacing of it. Things kind of escalated really quickly. When I saw episode 1, I did kind of hope, you know, we'd see the teenagers, you know, swimming in the lake and just doing regular counsellor stuff. I did also think for some reason the kids were going to arrive the next day, but given that Mr. Jingles has now escaped, I don't think that's going to happen. But guys, we still have, you know, 10 or 11 episodes maybe to come out, so I don't know what's going to happen with this season. I don't know, even at the midway mark, are they going to flip it on its head and it's no longer going to have that slasher feeling? We will see. We may even get the aliens of Asylum. For some reason I am still expecting them, because I know Ryan Murphy did say this season would be linked a lot more to Asylum. So I'm going to say right now, I think the aliens will show up, but let's wait and see. Overall, as I said, guys, I liked this episode a lot. Would I recommend you check it out? Yes, 100%. If you like slasher films, this is the season for you. All of the slasher tropes are here. Again, with this episode, we got a lot of, you know, movie references, which I really enjoyed, but also the characters are all still alive. They are all still developing, and we don't know what's going to happen next. So guys, check out this episode. Definitely, I would recommend it. I cannot wait for episode 3. It's going to be a banger of an episode. And until next time, guys, Heidi ho.
you.